What is up, everyone, and welcome back to Retro Game Haul!
Hi, guys.
Hey, Chuck, what happened?
Yeah,
He transformed!
well, I fell into a vat of chlorine down
like,
at the public pool.
Like the Joker in Batman.
Right, except, I don't have scars.
Dude, crazy.
So, I'm thinking that now I should probably, corner all the various mob bosses, line myself with grenades, and, steal all their money, then set it ablaze.
This guy right here got the plans. Everyone, give a big round of applause to my good friend Tony, a transplant recently from the West Coast, man. He's finally come home to the East Coast here, man. We're very, very happy to have him back. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me back, by the way.
Why the fuck wouldn't I?
Well, for
It's
a while
Retro
there,
Game.
I lost your number, so it was hard to get in contact.
Oh yeah, dude, he totally lost my number, and I just like randomly texted him the other day. I know that they're like, oh really, just show the fucking game channel. No, we're gonna tell you the story first. Okay.
There's a little bit of backstory.
There is. So here's the story. So he lost my number, right? And I just like randomly texted him the other night, and he was like, I'm sorry, who is this? I'm like, hey, it's Jimbo, dude. He was like, dude, I'm so glad you texted me. I'm like, great. I'm happy I made
I've
your
been
day.
trying to find your number. I lost my phone. They told me all my contacts would transfer over, and I looked in my phone. I had about 15, 20 contacts.
And then you told me a really bit of great news. Why don't you tell them what you told me?
What was my great news? What? Oh, right. I had told him that I had actually moved back to Virginia. I was living in California, and I had moved back for good. So I'm back now.
Best news, dude. Seriously, that made my fucking day. It really did. I was like, dude, stars are twinkling, planets are aligned, Tony's fucking back.
I'm back.
He's back in the lounge.
I am back.
Tony is a part of Team Retro Game Monster.
Now I can show you how
Always.
Steel Battalion is played.
You can. It's coming. We promised you guys it was. Fucking right here. This dude, Super Smash Brothers ringer. Let me
There was
tell
some
you.
good Smash out in California.
Was there?
Oh yeah.
Did you stomp ass?
Huh?
Did you stomp
Me?
ass?
Oh no. I
No?
wasn't good enough.
No?
It was the people not only that I trained with, but that trained other people to be as good as them, so I ran into quite a good amount of competition.
Which means that I wouldn't last like 5 seconds. Because he's way better than me. But, dude, Tony. See, alright, Chuck and I hype the crap out of this every time. We make it sound like, dude, it's like the biggest haul ever. Dude, you're new to... Am I fucking kidding?
This is a massive, massive haul this time.
This is ridiculous.
There's a lot of shit right here.
Way too much. It almost doesn't fit on the table. Or ottoman, or whatever you want to call this thing.
It's kind of pouring over the sides a little bit.
It is. We have several
And you have
stacks.
stuff over here, too. It doesn't all fit on the ottoman.
It's absurd. Like, this is really the problem that I have when you kind of leave me to my devices and we don't do a haul video. Like, the haul video is like my version of the AA meeting. Like, I kind of go there to, like, let it out. And, well, I haven't done one, so I kind of, like, fell off the retro wagon. Actually,
Get back on that 12-step program.
dude, I've got a really big problem with my love for video games.
Keep coming back. It works if you work it.
Well,
that's an AA joke inside for people who've been to a meeting before.
Well, hi, my name's Jimbo, and I'm a retro game fanatic.
Hi, Jimbo.
So, I don't even know where to start. I mean, this is like,
I say
we have stacks.
start with the smallest sorted stack first. Go through those and move your way up.
Then we gotta start with NES.
There it is.
Which, coincidentally, is the way that we normally start things on this show. So, that's really great. Right?
I would think so.
I thought so. Format.
Yeah, keep with it.
I need,
There's a reason we
steadiness.
use organization.
Yes. Because that's what keeps addicts in line. Next thing you know, I'm going to be like sticking an NES controller wire in my fucking arm, and I'll be out there trying to score like some Genesis, and dude, shit's just going to get real. This isn't a fucking joke. This is serious.
Very serious.
Yeah. So I guess we're gonna like start in the reference section here, man, like the educational section.
Yeah, I was hoping I could get out maybe the encyclopedia and take a look, see what she was up to right now.
Well, I just happen to have one right here, Tony, in this Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego Konami special game.
Interesting.
Which has a full New American Desk Encyclopedia included.
perfect for reference work.
Yeah, because the only thing that was missing from playing an NES game is I wanted to put down my controller, break out a gigantic encyclopedia just like I did in school, and have to fucking read. That's the greatest idea for any game ever! Why don't they make that now?
It's great for your kids.
Yes, because it makes them angrier at school!
And video games.
And video games! God. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Speaking of Konami, I don't like golf games.
No one does.
Except Mario Golf. That's actually a lot of fun.
That is fun.
Mario Golf's awesome. Because anyone can do it.
Or remember Wii Golf or whatever?
Yeah, Wii Golf's fun.
The Wii Sports.
Part of Wii Sports,
yeah,
that's fun.
That was fun.
And you can play with Grandma and Grandpa. You know, anyone can do it. But see, I don't like golfing games, but what I do like is NES Konami boxes. Because they're all the same color. You know, it's like the Konami version of the black box. They're all silver. You know, they've all got the logo. They're very uniform. Konami was very organized with that. So,
and they make for a good visual display and something like your collection over there.
Yeah, you know there's a word for that now?
Is there really?
Yeah, man. Like, you know, like, alright, so what do you call it when you do this with your phone? What is that called? Like, you take a picture of yourself.
A selfie.
Okay, selfie. Okay. So when you take a picture of something like that, it's called a shelfie.
A shelfie?
Yes, that's an actual word.
That is terrible.
But it's awesome. So you can take, like, a shelfie of your collection, like, put it up on Facebook, like, hey, morning shelfie.
No one wants to see my shelfies.
They might want to see mine,
it's
though.
Just, yeah, yours are nice.
Thanks, man.
Yours is all organized.
Thanks. And you know what? This is going to look great over there with the rest of my Konami collection. Because I
help complete the shelfie.
It will. And this one goes with it. So I forgot to mention this. This is a Konami game, too. But it's totally going to fuck up the flow here because it's, like, stupid.
Yeah, giant, massive box.
Look at this learning bullshit. I don't want to do that. I said I wouldn't talk about it anymore. You know what? I broke my own promise.
You did.
That's what having a drug problem does to you.
That's why we come to these meetings.
This is my drug, dude. So next up, we've got a rebuy for me. And I mean rebuy as in I used to have this when I was a kid. Actually got this game for getting good grades on my report card.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, man. I got I think an A in math or something like that. And math was always a tough subject with me. So, mother unit, Jimbo's mama, actually took me to Toys R Us. And she was like, you know what? Let's go pick you out a Nintendo game. I was like, great idea, Mom.
That's a good incentive.
Dude, it is. I kicked ass in school. She's like, let's go get you a Nintendo game. I was like, fucking A, let's do that shit. Yeah, I was like 8 years old. And I was like, yeah, fucking A, Mom. And she's like, you're not getting a fucking game. So I went and looked around, and I could not help but notice this pink box. I've never seen another pink box for the NES.
It's, as far as I know, the only pink box.
Like neon pink. Like, we'll call it 80s pink.
80s pink is a great term for that.
Tony's not old enough to remember this, but dude, Tony, in the 80s, pink was like the color, dude. Like, and it wasn't just any shade of pink. It was like neon pink.
Well, it's become sort of a stereotype nowadays to have that color go with the 80s.
That's because it's awesome.
You see it all the time.
Dude, neon pink is
sort of an iconic box in and of itself.
I think so. I mean, it's not enough for me that I have the working arcade game downstairs. You know, I've got to have the original game. And dude, I got to be honest with you. The screen caps on the back of this are not from the NES game.
Are they?
That always used to piss me off. The main thing, and I'll cut in a pic of the back of the box for you guys right now. The main thing that's different is, if you look here, you can see Kid Nicky's got two different colors in his pants. Like, his pant legs are different colors. In the Nintendo game, it's all one color.
Okay.
But in the arcade game, it's two colors.
So these are arcade screenshots.
This is literally business fraud. This is advertising fraud. Seriously, if they did this today for like an Xbox 360 or like a PS4 or something like that, there'd be people like filing lawsuits.
That's true.
Claiming like false advertising because they're misrepresenting the product.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is one of your favorite games, is it?
I love Kid Nicky, dude. It's awesome. It's incredibly fucking hard, but no, dude, I absolutely love this game. And Tony, being the awesome motherfucker that he is, this is actually a conversation that he and I have, for 2 years now?
2 years.
Where he's been trying to dig, I'll let you show them, a little something out for me that he's like, dude, if I have it, I'll freaking find it and I'll bring it to you. I just got this like 10 minutes ago. Show them, buddy.
I found a Kid Nicky manual a few years back, and a big stack of manuals I got on eBay or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this was one of the only good manuals that was actually in the stack of probably about 150 manuals.
Awesome.
And I saw this, the very first thing I thought of, Jimbo.
Because I'm a Kid Nicky fan.
And I told him right away that I had this manual. However, when I went to go see him probably 3 or 4 days later, for the life of me, I could not find this manual. I tore apart my basement. It still hasn't recovered. I tore apart my room, and it was just nowhere to be found. I moved back home. I moved all the stuff back into my room and back into my basement. And what should I find as soon as I'm done packing everything back where it should be? The Kid Nicky manual.
It's destiny.
It was just meant to be.
He was meant to come here.
And then he gave me a text about a week later, I'd say. And the first thing I let him know was that I had this manual ready for him.
Thanks, man. I mean, and dude, look at this. This is pure coincidence. We didn't time this, ladies and gentlemen. He didn't know this until he got here.
I had no idea.
That this was one of the pickups tonight, that I finally got a boxed copy. And it needs the manual. It's like, it's perfect. Like, now I have a complete Kid Nicky. Thanks to Tony. Which makes me happy. Hi, Mom. So, Tony, we've got a really killer stack of NES games right now.
Yeah, pretty big.
We do. We've got a few that are worthy of talking about, but the majority of these, man, I think we're gonna have to do rapid fire.
Yeah, you got a pretty silly stack of games right here.
I think so. So I think we're gonna pull out the rapid fire. So, cue rapid fire.
Rapid fire!
Hook. Round Ball.
Home Alone.
Home Alone 2.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with the manual.
Desert Commander.
It's Your Worst Nightmare. Rambo for the NES.
Circus Caper.
Back to the Future 2 and 3.
The Incredible Crash Dummies.
Okay, so I think we can pull ourselves out of rapid fire right now since Chuck isn't here and Tony's new to this. I don't want anyone getting hurt here. I'll pull out the rapid fire drive. There we go. Okay. Just taking it easy here. Okay, so we got a few NES games that we actually do want to talk about because these are actually kind of cool. So first up, we've got Muscle, which this was actually based on a action figure series. These little guys that were about this big. I apologize, I do not remember what Muscle stands for. It's an acronym, but it's like mutated something something. I don't know. It's a really weird acronym, but anyways, I used to have these figures when I was a kid. There was a couple ways you could get them. They would come in like this little like clear plastic trash can kind of thing. And the little guys would be pink. They'd be all kinds of different things. One guy was just like a giant hand. One guy had like a demon head and stuff like that. And they were just little tiny pink plastic things. But they were immensely fun to collect. They made them in different colors and stuff. They had a wrestling ring where you could have your guys fight. And then they put out the NES game from Bandai. And it's fucking terrible. So it's actually a really, really terrible game. But it does have that kind of nostalgia factor to me. It's like kind of like watching a shitty movie. From your childhood where, you thought it was awesome when you were watching it as a kid.
Yeah. And
you watch it as an adult, you're like, why did I ever like this movie? But it's still awesome. Like it's got the cheese factor. And it's like, I don't care that it sucks. It's still cool.
I mean, that's kind of why we buy a lot of this stuff anyways.
Well, it's nostalgia glasses, dude. It's the retro version of beer glasses.
The next game we have is Caveman Games. Jimbo, tell us a little bit about this game.
Caveman Games. Actually a really fun NES game from Data East, based upon the arcade game of the same name. It's kind of like the Olympics done caveman style. Like, you have all these, like, weird events, like, I think one of them is, like throw your wife or something by her hair or something. Very, like, cartoony caveman stuff. You're beating each other with clubs. There's, like, instead of the, the hammer toss event in the Olympics, you're, like, doing it with a tiger. Like, you're throwing it by his tail, and spinning around. Little random things like that. But the graphics are really cool. The fun factor is really good. It's really fun to play with your friends, actually. And just so you can get the better score. It's kind of like the silly, cartoonish version of track and field.
Okay.
So it's something worth a look. A little bit of a hidden gem on the NES, I think. A lot of people kind of sleep on this one. Not that expensive. Still sub $10. So if you can get out there and grab it, guys, seriously, it's a really fun game to play with your pals.
I haven't played this one.
We're gonna have to rock it.
Actually, I don't think I've played most of the NES games for tonight.
Dude, we're gonna have to rock this shit on the Retron. You're gonna dig it. It's awesome. Speaking of sports games you can play with your friends, next up we have Arch Rivals. The title or the subtitle of this game really says it all. A basket brawl, which makes it awesome. So basically what we have here, Tony, is we have full contact basketball, meaning you go in to make your shot or whatever, and some like asshole tries to get in your way and block your shot. What do? You punch him in the fucking face. Because that's how you roll in Arch Rivals, man. I mean,
be
like,
better than that.
Look at that. Like, dude just getting rocked.
Yeah, just getting decked.
Yeah, so it's like...
People are getting, like, trampled and shit.
Yeah. That's how things work in Arch Rivals. Once again, based on the arcade game of the same name. Really fun game to play in the arcades. You know, your standard basketball game, but, again, you can beat the shit out of each other. Like, punches, kicks, all kinds of, normal stuff. Like, it's like basketball with no fouls. Like... That's the only way you could improve an NBA game, really.
That does sound like it would actually be pretty fun to play with your friends.
Absolutely. Where you're just like...
knocking them over.
Just wreck them, like on the way down to your basket, like haymaker. That would be a lot of fun. And the NES translation, actually, is not that bad. Is it an exact arcade perfect? Of course not. But all things considered, it's actually a really fun game. I really, really, really strongly recommend this one, guys. Go ahead, pick it up, check it out. It's fun.
Next up, we have, well, hold on, this doesn't really look like an NES game. I recognize the title, as many of you will, but, something seems a little bit off about this Gauntlet cart.
You would be correct, dude. Something is off about that. For those of you not in the know, you see the name over here on the side, Tengen. Tengen was basically the first company to challenge the Big N as far as their stranglehold on third-party support for NES games. This is basically any Tengen game you see, the black cart, the kind of oblong shape of this thing. It was the first unlicensed NES game series. The first game they put out actually was Tetris.
Oh.
Which was a big hit because they beat Nintendo to market on that, and it was a huge success. There's a lot of videos out on this. Actually, the Game Historian has a complete history of the Tengen cart, so I definitely strongly recommend you check that out. But basically, what they did was illegally access the patent schematics for the NES, and they figured out how to beat the NES lockout chip, which was basically the only way to get around making your own kind of, we'll say, pirated or unlicensed NES game. I think they eventually did win. That you could make unlicensed games. Like the court basically stated that Nintendo can't have a stranglehold on this because they're not violating copyright laws by making a game. But at the end of the day, Tengen did break the law and lied to the patent office. But at the end of the day, Gauntlet was eventually released on Grey Cart, meaning an official licensed copy, and I do have that. But it's kind of cool to get the Tengen cards, man, because it's kind of like, like fucking rock and roll and metal and shit, because they're like, fuck the law, we're breaking the law, breaking the law. So it's kind of rebel, it's kind of cool to do that stuff.
Also, they look funny when you plug them in.
Yeah, they do, because they're not right side up.
Cuts off the title of the game here.
And they're upside down.
Yeah.
So, because when you compare it to one of the other games, they're right side up, so... It is kind of cool to have it. The Tetris Tengen game, for example, is actually really valuable because it's a true translation of the original Tetris game, and I think it's 2-player too. The NES version isn't.
Yeah, it's only 1 player on NES.
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty valuable game. So Tengen's fun, man, and they work. Next up, we've got an entry for the SNK collection, Ikari Warriors 2. Kind of a big departure. Actually, from the first game, not too much. Still the overhead kind of, just run and gun type of stuff, traditionally like the first game. But you're fighting aliens in this one, and if I remember correctly, the head alien is named Zing Zip. I don't know who comes up with this shit, but it's definitely not a sane person. And you have like swords, and it's weird. It's not a bad game. Please don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually a very decent game. It's just a little bit different. Walks a little bit of a different path. From the first game. So if that's what you're expecting going into this one, you're going to be like, it's like Ikari Warriors on acid. It's like a little bit of weird shit, but it is a good game, seriously. Like, just the things that you can do, it does make some improvements to the original game, and it's a lot of fun, and it's co-op. When you use the blue guy, and when you use the red guy.
That's always good on these older games, is to be able to play these co-op games, because a lot of the time you had to play it by yourself, and that sort of, you couldn't really have fun with your friends.
No.
And it's always good, especially when it's a combat game like this, where you can work in tandem with each other, and it's highly relevant when it's a 2-player game as opposed to just a 1-player game.
And last for the NES, we got kind of a funky little puzzle game called Trog. that I've never played before. It's definitely not a common for the NES. I would call it unusual. I wouldn't go so far as rare. Definitely an uncommon game. From what I've seen, based upon the gameplay footage, just kind of just a kooky, crazy little puzzle game with a couple little cool twists. But I honestly like kind of stuff like that.
I mean, if it's a good puzzle game, it's definitely worth giving it a shot. Tetris showed us that.
Absolutely. Which is a dirt simple game.
And for such a simple game, you wouldn't think it would go that far. Now, if Trog here, which I personally haven't played either, if it holds up, if it's a good puzzle game, then people are going to play it.
I'm going to play it.
Like, Bubble Bobble is a great other puzzle game.
Absolutely.
I think that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head, which is a little bit disappointing.
Dr. Mario?
Dr. Mario, there we go. Thank you very much.
No problem. Yeah, no, it's hard to make a really fun puzzle game, but Bomberman has one, Panic Bomber, which is basically...
I don't think I ever played Panic Bomber.
It's like Bomberman Tetris.
That sounds fun.
Because shit blows up. So, yeah. So we'll check Trog out. We'll let you guys know.